Hi everybody, John MIllen with Benefit Hackers. Excited to talk today about one of the most common questions we get. And this is related to healthcare benefits for companies. One of the number one questions we get from companies that do not offer healthcare benefits is, what does it cost? It's so frequently asked that we're ready for it. And just like anything else, people want to kind of get to the bottom line, get to the point. And I want to talk on this podcast about some things we've learned and some things you can use in your planning. So this podcast is really for employees, HR, small business owners. If you don't have group medical insurance in your company and you want it, listen to this, because I'm going to give you some things that I think you're going to be like, wow, I had no idea it was not that expensive, actually, because that's the reaction we get. But there's some funny things going on with the way people are looking at this that's causing it to appear like it's out of range. So that's why I wanted to do this, because it happened so many times in 2019 that, and I get it. It's like whenever I went to buy a copier, or not buy a copier, lease a big new copier for our office, what I thought it was going to cost in my head was a lot higher than what it actually ended up costing. And then when I looked at what it was saving us, I'm like, wow, that's going to pay for itself in 2 months, 3 months. So I hope this is going to be helpful to you. First, a couple things up front that I think will be beneficial to you. One is, in the past, we were taught in the sales arena that people buy on emotion and then back it up with logic. I don't know if you've ever heard that term or that phrase. People will get emotionally invested in it. And once they will find the logical reasons to make it happen. Now, I still believe there's some situations where that's true. But I also want to give you a different perspective. That one thing I've learned recently, in the last couple years, is that people need both logic and emotion. And I'll give you a quick story before I get in, because this is important, because the decision to bring in a group medical benefits package, is going to be based both on logic and emotion. So I think this is important to go through first before I get into the topic. We were looking to buy a new truck, SUV, last year, so a few months ago. And we walked into a Chevy dealer, and we said, hey, we need a bigger vehicle. We had a minivan, and the salesman was really nice, very friendly, just easy going. I'm like, I like this guy. He's standing there when you walk in. I'm like, this is a good experience. I'm pleasantly surprised so far, right in the door. And he asked how much you pay now for your lease. And we said $565 a month. And he said, okay, do you have a budget in mind of what you're looking for? We said, yeah. We're willing to pay a little bit more because we know we need a bigger vehicle and our family's growing and we need to transport stuff. So we don't mind paying, I don't know. We just threw out some numbers. I forget what we said, $700 a month, $800, and we lease a vehicle. And so he said, okay. We proceeded to test drive 3 different vehicles at that Chevy dealer and started to really emotionally buy into them. Like, one of them, we were like, this is really nice. The sticker price was a little higher than we wanted, but not crazy land. So we go inside, and the whole time I'm wondering, man, I wonder what the lease payment's going to be on this. And so we go inside, and of course it took longer than we wanted, which is usually the case for experiences. So if you sell cars, you need to fix this process because it's really frustrating. So it took a long time to get us a rough number or a good number for a monthly lease payment. And they came back. I said, all right, Mr. Millen, this is what we think we can do. And he turned I could see what was scribbled on the paper. He flipped it around, and it said $1,400 a month for a 5-year lease. I think it was a 4 or 5 year lease. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, that is so far outside of our price range. It's not even debatable. Like, there's no reason to even negotiate anything. $1,400 a month. My point is that in this situation, that salesman who did a great job was hoping that I was going to buy on emotion and back it up with logic. And it backfired because there was no way logically I could miraculously find $800 a month more to pay for a leased vehicle. Does that make sense? So the better approach, and I'm going somewhere with this analogy, so just hang tight with me, would have been, hey, thanks for coming in. What can I help you with? We're looking for a new vehicle, a bigger vehicle. Great, what do you have now? They look over, they see what we drove in. A minivan, great. You mind if I ask what you're paying now? We tell them $565. What are you willing, what's your budget? And we say, I don't know, $700, $800. And we say, we're really looking at the Tahoes. We really like the Tahoes. At that moment, they could have said, do you have any idea how much it's going to cost on a lease payment for a Tahoe? And we would have said, absolutely no clue. And he could have said, based on my experience, I'm just giving you rough numbers here, right? It could be a little higher, it could be a little lower, but you're probably looking at around, easily over $1,000 a month. And he could have said $1,200 or $1,300 a month, somewhere in that range, just floating it, right? You're just floating it. And we would have said, oh my gosh, don't even show me, because that's totally out of our range. But that's not what happened. We spent 2.5 hours of our day with our kids trying to make this happen. My point is, this happens a lot as well in the health insurance area, where people say, how much is it? And I'm guilty of this as well in the past, of saying, well, it really depends on this and this and this, and depends on how many people and what plan, and there's thousands of plans, and I get it. That is the truth. That is absolutely true. But I've learned that there are some general figures that we can give people to give them the ballpark, right? Logically, are we in the same arena? And in that discussion, let me also talk about the emotional reason, the logical reason, and the emotional reason of why you want to invest with benefits. It's an investment. It's not an expense. Yes, it comes off the top line, but I'm going to show you how to think of that as an investment, not an expense. And then you start your discussion. So I hope that's valuable, because that's what I'm going to do here. So let me get to the punchline, just to give you the answer. So for about $50 a week, you can provide a group medical plan for your employees. It's about $50 a week. Your cost, the owner. So if you have 10 employees, let's just say you have 10 benefit eligible. These are full-time employees working at least 30 hours or more a week. And the good rule of thumb is about half of them will take your medical plan, for rule of thumb. Not all 10 will probably take it. So half of the 10 is $50 a week times 5 is $250 a week. So if you're paying them weekly, that's what's going to come out of your checkbook as the business owner to pay for it. That's it. Now, what's the employee going to pay? $50 a week, roughly, because it's a split cost between the employer and the employee. Typically, the employer pays at least 50% of the employee only rate. The employer can pay more, but a minimum of 50%. So the employer's paying $50 a week. The employee's paying $50 a week. $100 a week works out to be, a little under $3,000 a year total cost. So I hope that is helpful. When I tell people that, they're like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, now that's an estimate. That's for just kind of a plain vanilla plan. That we're not buying a Lexus here, right? You didn't say you wanted a Lexus LS 460 that's $95,000. You said you want group medical, a decent group medical plan. Now, what we can do, you can actually go a little lower if you really wanted to, which I don't recommend because it's just a catastrophic plan. Or you spend a little more, invest a little more, and you can dramatically increase the value of the plan. So maybe now you're spending $70 a week. So for $70 a week, we can build you a Mac Daddy Rockstar group medical plan with first dollar gap coverage, with telemedicine, with all these bells and whistles for $70 a week. for you and $70 a week for the employee. That is so eye-opening to people because it starts the discussion. And a couple things, I don't know if you've noticed, so if this is new to you, a couple things that we've learned. People tend to multiply the math wrong. What happens is when you ask for a medical proposal, and I've seen plenty, they're usually 30 or 40 or 50 or 80 pages long, right? And there's a tabulation. So it has all your employees, how old they are, and it's based on age. For most small companies, it's going to be based on the age. So if you have a whole bunch of 20-year-olds, the rate's going to be lower. If you have a whole bunch of people between 55 and 65, it's going to be higher. Usually there's a mix. So they give you this proposal, you look for the answer. The answer is $8,000 a month. That's not $50 a week. That's not $8,000 a month. I can't afford this. And what happens is you're looking at the scenario as if everyone buys the plan, all 10, and you're paying 100%. That's the total cost. What people forget is that not all 10 will take it. So you can divide that by 2, and you're going to pay half. So the employee pays half. So you can divide that by 2 again. Oh, $2,000 a month. Do you see how instantly it can be misread? And that's probably what happened to that company we talked to last year when he said it was $8,000 a month for 15 people. Because what's happening, people are getting emailed a proposal with 45 pages with 3 or 4 or 10 plan options, and you're confused. What you want to do is get someone to narrow that down. And so that's what I've done here. I hope this is helpful. $50 a week, $70 a week. That's a starting point. Now, how do you justify it? All right. So we just brought on a company that has about 10 employees. They're an electrical company, electricians. And I believe that 5 of them came on the plan, medical plan. So the question is, okay, $50 a week. It's $250 a week. That's $1,000 a month. That's $1,500. Sorry, $50 a week times 5 is $250 a week. Times 4 is $1,000 a month. $12,000 a year, and then some rounding up. Let's just call it $15,000. As the business owner, you're going to be investing $15,000 out of your company side to provide an investment, which is benefits for these 5 people. How are you going to justify that? And this is part of the discussion we have is, hey, I get it. That's $15,000 in your pocket now, or $15,000 for a truck that breaks down, or $15,000 for the price increase on your lease where your building is, or you have to lease a new truck. I get it. Costs go up. So how are you going to justify the $15,000? One way you justify it is, I say, if you brought on one new electrician because you had benefits, you post an ad, they want to work for you, they have 2 kids and they're married and they absolutely need to have medical insurance, and they come to you and you give them a nice offer and an amazing benefit package, not a crappy plan, but an amazing package like we designed, how much is that employee worth to you? And usually we get a pause. Some business owners know, but I'll just run some quick numbers. Let's say, I know I just used some electricians. It's about $90 an hour. So $90 an hour, if you do the math and assume they're only billing out 40 hours a week, which is probably very realistic because plumbers, electricians, HVAC are in high demand. There's more business, at least in Virginia, there's more business than they can keep up with. So they're working at least 40, probably 50 hours, maybe 60 or 70. But let's just say 40. I did the math, checked my math. It's about was it just under $200,000? I think it was $195,000 of annual revenue for the company by bringing on one person. Let's assume that your profit margin is only 10%. Your net profit, that's $20,000. That's your cost for all of those employees. Having one new employee come on can mean the difference between you paying for all of those benefits. But the difference is you have a rock star package that you're investing. And that's exactly what you will see happen, especially in a tight labor market like we have now. I hope this is beneficial. If we can ever help you out, you can look us up all over the place. Just search for Benefit Hackers. Glad to help you out. Thank you for listening. Sorry this was a bit lengthy, but I thought this was an important topic for people, and I hope you found value as well. Let me know if I can help in any way, and we'll talk soon.